Here we are on the last day of Charles's 30th year.
30.
So I'm really curious, what are 3 lessons that you've learned this year? You've been all over the world, you've launched a lot of incredible projects, you've met incredible folks. What have you learned that surprised you, that's grown you, that's stretched you outside your comfort zone and made you the man that you are today?
Let me really soak that in and really think about it. But I'm gonna just, on the top of my head, learning to create healthy boundaries. So I think, and aligning with our intuition and our gut is so important. A lot of times, you know, our body and our intuition, our gut is telling us a certain way, and then we ignore it, and then something bad happens, right? But it's like honoring that part of ourselves, but also doing the work to align ourselves so we hear that voice. So I think everything that I do really stems from that place. I think if that place that we can come from that is like an inspired place rather than like a fear-based knee-jerk reaction.
Totally. Is there one specific moment from this year that made you realize that?
Is there a specific moment?
Or a story?
I feel like it's a compile of like different life experiences. It's never like one thing.
Yeah. I also feel very strongly that when you know you shouldn't do something or something feels off and then you do it anyway, you always look back and you're like, I knew from the very beginning I shouldn't have given that person a second chance, or I shouldn't have pushed my body so hard. And there's nothing worse than that regret of not trusting your own inner intuition.
No, absolutely. And I think that's something about, like, you know, when someone says like, oh, as you get older you become wiser. I don't think you become wiser. I think we're always wise, but through experiences you just start trusting yourself. You start honoring that voice that has always been within, and you stop doubting yourself, and you weed out all the noise. Like, as you get older you just become grounded in like, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and this is like how I feel, and I honor that gut. Like when I'm about to make a business decision or friendship or dates or whatever, like honor that part of yourself. And that's why I'm such a big believer with like checking in. Like do a check-in, like before you respond to that email. Maybe you got this like email and you feel obligated to respond quickly. No, take a moment. I had a friend do human design on me. And she said, you're a people pleaser, so before you say yes to anything, sleep on it. Ooh, I like that.
Actually, so now that's become my rule of thumb, is I say, that's a really great idea. I'm so touched that you thought of me for this. Let me sleep on it and get back to you tomorrow.
I love that.
And that gives us that moment of self-awareness to really consider, is this in alignment with my values?
I love that so much.
I got another thing that I'm curious about. What was one thing that you deliberately got curious about this year? Or deliberately set out to learn? Maybe it was a skill or a new hobby. Because when I think about you, you're a man that's a Renaissance man. Like, you're a creative director and you're so visionary in everything that you do, from your business to chefing to the way that you are with friends and family. And so you're constantly stretching yourself and growing. What do you think nourished you this year that you invested time into learning how to do?
It's almost like a unlearning, not a learning.
Ooh, I like that.
It's to always constantly remind myself that I don't know everything. And to something that I did learn, and I feel like this year, was team building and giving. As a creative manager or creative director, you have these visions, but in order to set out those visions, you need a proper team. And I think part of growing a team and to work with a team is to really trust people and give people the opportunity to shine. And give people the opportunity to play, but you're cultivating this safe space.
And that's like a whole new way to lead.
Oh, for sure, because I think in the beginning, like when you're starting out, it's like you're a solo entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And as you grow, you're like, we're building a team here. There's the company culture, and there's all these things. So it really makes me look at all the amazing leaders that are around me that and observe, like, wow, this is how they, pros and cons. Like you see negative results and then you also see positive, like, wow, the respect that this employee has to this mission or this this venture that you're building, and the way that you're able to keep people enthusiastic and excited is really the way you talk to someone. It goes back to everything we talked about. Like, everyone just wants to be heard, seen, and feel like their existence matters and that they're contributing to a positive matter. Watch out, watch out.
We
almost got killed.
Safety first, kids. Safety first.
Oh my god.
So
We almost got killed.
anything for the art. What is getting you really excited about this next Dance Around the Sun? What are you looking forward to with 31?
Oh my gosh, I'm excited about growing my relationships, my friendships, manifesting my partner in life, and also just growing this new venture, Zeal, that I'm so excited about building, that I think is really gonna change a lot of lives and help a lot of people, and to give a platform to a lot of voices that haven't been heard.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited. I'm allowing things to unfold, and I have my visions and things, but I also, this is another lesson that I learned, that there's a higher power that's greater than ourselves that's working magic behind the scenes that you have to surrender to. And I think that's another life lesson that I learned you're co-creating.
Yeah. When you look back on the highlight reel that was this year, what was a moment or two where you just felt so grateful for life? Like it was a surreal out-of-body experience.
So I'm a big vision board person, right? So on my vision board, I have, you know, Dr. Oz is on there.
Yeah.
So this year, 3 episodes.
Wow.
And for a kid who, like, that's your tear.
I'm sorry.
We just found. That's so you.
We're just gonna walk. I night thee.
Oh my god.
Birthday blessings.
Oh my god.
For the neighborhood.
Yes, this is so great. This is so you.
Oh, I love it. It has a big heart. Just
yes,
like you.
Thank you. But no, that was a surreal moment. But apart from filming, I think it's just like the opportunity to create and to do what we love is so powerful. To be able to wake up and to realize, we were talking about this before we started recording, how much of it is a blessing to be alive right now and to use our gifts and resources for the greater good, to impact.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite qualities about you is that you anchor in daily gratitude, but not in a way where it's just, oh, I'm gonna journal about it. It's like you live and breathe and exude the gratitude that you feel, and it's a game changer. Like if you could wish something for the world to feel on your birthday. So tomorrow people wake up and they get to feel the essence of Charles. What feeling would you wish that they felt?
Inner peace. I think as I'm getting older, that's all I want for everyone. We all go through life experiences, whether you're happy right now or you're experiencing pain, trauma, shame, guilt, whatever human emotion that you're feeling, just know that someone else has felt that, but that this too shall pass. And I think when you have this moment, when I say inner peace, it doesn't mean that you're not currently going through anything, but you're at peace with it. You're no longer fighting or resisting that emotion. I think that's the key to life, is not to resist what you're processing. Like, allow it to unfold, allow it to teach you, allow it to be your greatest teacher.
So speaking of teachers, I wonder who have been some of your greatest teachers on this journey into 31?
Well, something that you said that you taught me was that everyone is a visiting professor. Like, it doesn't matter. It could be my Uber driver. It could be someone on the street. It could be someone who you cross paths with. Like, maybe it's a relationship. It could be your family that pulls out, you know, a certain side of you. Everyone is a teacher. I don't think there's one specific teacher. Everyone. Nature is our greatest teacher. Being in the ocean is like my teacher.
What do you feel when you're in the ocean? Because I know that is a big part of you coming back to Cali, jumping in that ocean. What does it give you that New York doesn't?
It gives me a sense of, it gets rid of all the noise, and it centers me, it grounds me, it makes me feel connected to the world. You know, a lot of times we live in our apartments, we're on social media, we're filming a video, and we feel disconnected from the world around us. That's why it's so important to go into nature, to ground ourselves and remind ourselves that we're just this tiny spectacle in this big universe. And there's a whole world around us, and that's why I think it's so important to travel, to do things, to see the outside world, that wow, like, there's a whole nother world outside. There are people suffering around the world, and we can actually help, but also within our community. I think that's what we're really all here for, is like service. And we all have specific talents and gifts, and it's like, how do we use those gifts to be of service? That's when we're in flow.
And that's what I so appreciate about learning your story over brunch and the initiatives that you've done. Where do you see those acts of service stepping into 31? What do you want to help bring into the world?
I think change starts with conversation, because until people talk about certain things, they will not bring about any sort of actions. So Zeal, the media company I'm building, is all about facilitating conversations and to bring light to subjects that maybe haven't been talked about, and to bring awareness through digestible content that can actually change the world. So
one of my favorite things about you is that you're constantly stretching your mind, absorbing new media, fascinating videos every day on your Instagram to keep people pumped and motivated. Have you ever this year kind of hit a low point, and if so, how did you overcome it?
I think it's like, as I said, every human emotion we go through, and we all have our ups and downs, and I think what helps you get through it is those things that ground you back into the world around you. So nature and friendships and people to lean on, people to talk to, people to converse with. That's why I'm so big on community. You don't have to go through it alone. A lot of people think that you have to struggle alone. No, like, you can share your stories and realize that there are other people that are going through it, and as you share your stories, people feel less shame, because they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought someone like you would go through. I'm like, no. And that's the thing about stories, and what I realized is like, we all have these human emotions, and it's like, no one is above anybody else, because we all go through pain, and there's nothing that you can't take that away. It's part of life.
So as you're celebrating your last day of 30, how has your 30s felt different than your 20s?
I think going back to what we said, 20s is like very explorative. You're still kind of figuring things out. I think 30s, you just become a little bit more like, okay, I think I got this.
I love how you talked about the pivoting and the changing. And for me, it's about seeing that as a thrill, like getting curious about the adventure of the challenge instead of getting defeated by it. Olympic athletes, when they get asked, were you scared, were you nervous? They say no, I was excited. They experience all the same symptoms that we do of nervousness. The shift that they've done is they've been able to translate those same symptoms and fuel them into performing their best.
Yeah, I think it's also going back to stillness. It's a presence. You're so fully present. It's like when you're doing something that you love so much, like you're dancing and you don't even realize you're burning calories because you're just like, I'm in this, I'm feeling the music, I'm so in the zone. And I think that we all have those moments of like clarity, purpose, drive, and to do more of the things that bring us into that state is important. And
so pop quiz, what are 3 things that you feel super grateful for right now this second?
Grateful for the sun, grateful for my friendship, I'm grateful for the ability to have technology to share this moment with you guys so you guys can experience it. That's insane.
It's insane. We were just talking about the power of media. There's no reason not to create media that adds value. So what's the order of operations for anybody out there that's excited to create content? What would you recommend they do first?
Get clear about what you want to say. Ask yourself, how is this adding value to someone else's life? And then do it.
It's that easy.
Yeah, I think it's like taking action, like just scheduling it.
So I wonder if at this point, like, you have built an empire in so many ways. Is there ever a point where you lean back, kind of sit back and say, I'm good, I did it? Or is there so much more that you want to create?
I think it's always the curiosity, like watching Netflix, Bill Gates inside Bill's mind. You're driven by, I feel like I'm just getting started. Work will never be done if there's another person that's still suffering. So the work will never end until we're at our deathbed. So it's like you literally will continue, and it's about inspiring the future generations to keep up this momentum and like the change makers. It's not just about me. That's why Zeal is so powerful. It's like it's cultivating the power of community, contributors, and bring everyone together and to build this momentum, and then it keeps going on even afterwards. It's a movement. Hold on. Big truck behind us. Yeah, now you know the sound.
But I really want to hear more about Zeal, because from everything that you've told me about it, it feels like it's bigger than a brand. It feels like it's bigger than a media empire. It's really a movement. What is it a movement for?
It's a movement for change makers, for anyone who has a topic, a passion, a cause that they believe in and they want to help bring about change. It's giving them a platform, a voice to share that. Because everything I've ever done, it's always very purpose driven, and I think we go from this place of like wanting to make change. There's so many people who are fed up with their corporate jobs that feel unfulfilled in these 9-to-5 jobs where they're making great money but unfulfilled, where they go to bed not feeling like they made a difference. That like, are we just blindsided by all the pain and suffering that's going around us? Like, am I okay to just pay my mortgage, buy a house, buy a car, and like, is this it? And it's not. And I think that there are so many things that we as human beings in a first world country have the responsibility to give back and to do good and to utilize our voice for the greater good. Like, I think when people come together, we can make huge shifts. Yeah, so it's not about giving our power away and giving it to the government or who's elected president. It's about how do we internally within our community create positive impact.
Beautiful. So last pop quiz, what is one thing that you're letting go in 31?
One thing I am letting go. This is a process of letting go, but just letting go of any self-sabotages that no longer serve us. When we're constantly becoming more aware of like, this no longer serves me, this relationship doesn't serve me, this environment doesn't serve me, right? So the constant shedding of like letting go of these self-sabotages and shame, guilt, all the human emotions that we all feel that don't serve us, and let it go, and just like choose to pivot that into your alter ego. Who's your
alter ego? I'm very curious about that. Who is Charles Chen's alter ego?
Who is my alter ego?
Ooh.
I think it's a mix of different people that I put together. I don't even think it's like so subconsciously. When
I see you all styled out, there is this smooth like 007 energy, like don't fuck with me, I'm gonna take over the world vibe. That's to me Charles's alter ego.
Oh, I love it. A little Men in Black.
Yeah. And what is one thing, if we don't talk for a whole year, which is impossible because we talk every week.
Yes.
What is one thing that a year from now you will have planted the seeds of it tomorrow and it will have blossomed? Kids, don't try this at home. This is really street walking.
Yeah. Well, this is not planned, but it's totally zeal.
Yes.
It's planting the seeds of zeal, and anyone who wants to get involved who's watching this video, if you have an expertise or you know someone who is a doctor, a naturopath, a speaker, a healer, a coach, and has a voice and opinion that they want to contribute, we're happy to, collaborate and partner. So send me an email, check out the website.
And what is the website for anyone that wants to?
It's Zeal, but
Brilliant.
With two Z's, ZZEAL.co. We'll leave links below.
Incredible. Charles, thank you for spending your last day of 30 with me.
Yes.
We had so much fun with all of you.
Yes.
Show some love. Go ZZEAL.co.
Boom.
And get your healing on.
Yes.
We wish everyone a beautiful year ahead. Charles, happy birthday, my dear.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you.
Bye, guys.